Hello, beautiful people. It's Robyn Thomas here with Resemble Me by Robyn. Welcome back to my channel. So we are gonna go ahead and just hop right on in today's video. This appointment was a little different. It was a little different. So I have my client here who has had a crazy previous 3 weeks or 3 weeks leading up to her appointment. I did some braids for her back in, goodness, I have no idea when it was now. I think it was like August or so. And at this point, I think we're in November no, we're in early December. So I did some braids for her. She kept them in almost 4 months. 3 months, over 3 months. So let's just say she kept me in for 3 months. I think it was a little bit over 3 months, but not quite 4 months yet. So if you see, she came in with braids in her hair. So this is the style that I did for her. I did some roots boho braids, which is basically bohemian braids. I call them the roots braids just because of me using my hair. So I have a vendor that I use, and I dyed the hair for her how she wanted it. So it came custom colored. So basically the difference between if you add boho and you get the roots boho is you bringing the hair or me providing the hair. And this hair is 100% virgin hair. People ask all the time, can you reuse it? You can. The best way to reuse it is to wash it first while it's in the braid. So do a really nice cleanse, and then when you're taking it out, being extremely careful as to keep all the pieces together. But for the most part, people normally will just get a whole new set, but because some people pay so much, because it is virgin hair, they say, well, can I use it again? And the truth is, you will probably lose some of the hair, but yes, it can be reused again. Okay, so let's get into what's going on here. So she had some family stuff to go on, and then 2 weeks prior to her coming to her appointment, she injured her elbow. So if you see in the beginning, she was trying to show me like how she's trying to extend it. And it's crazy because throughout the appointment, she was like trying to like work it. She had just gotten into physical therapy and everything, just got out of the arm brace like less than a week before coming. So she was really struggling. So she emailed me the day before and was like, hey, so I think we're gonna have to change my appointment. I've been trying to take my hair for 2 weeks now, and it's just been crazy. If you notice, her hair is of a looser texture. She is mixed, and she has never ever worn her braids for almost 4 months. It was like 3.5 months that she had those braids in. And she is very athletic. So she does dance classes. She likes to go skiing a lot. She moves a lot. And because of that, she washes her hair a lot. And because of that, we were left with this. So I had taken the rest of the braids out that was in the front, and she told me that she had come into this problem with each one of these braids. Her hair looks like a lock has started. And it's because mainly of her hair texture. So I'm going to be going in, as you see, using Roots protective style removal oil. But every time she would wash her hair, and she said most times she washed it every week. So imagine going 14 weeks of her hair texture, washing it every week and it drying or whatever. So she had a lot of matting, and she didn't just have regular install braids. They were knotless. So they weren't classic. They were knotless. So you start with your hair, and then of course you add the hair in. So all of that factored into her hair basically becoming a lock. So we're going to use the Roots protective style removal oil, which can be found on www.resemblemebyrobyn.com/shop. If you'd like to order you some. Normally we would not have to do this much, but the oil, I was definitely glad, I have this oil, and we had this oil to help with removal. I'm normally a person, like, if you moisturize your hair throughout the style, you may not, most times you won't need it because your hair will be nice and slippery as you're removing your style. When I say moisturize, I do mean washing your hair. I mean moisturizing it 2 to 3 times, or every 2 to 3 days. So it's like, what, 3 to 4 times a week. But in this case, because of her hair texture and because of how much she was taking care of her hair, right? She needs this, So I had to bring out the handy dandy fine tooth comb and the roots oil to be able to undo her hair, which was also why it took her about 2 weeks, because she said that all of her braids were like this. She had such tremendous new growth, but also within all of that is new growth, but with that new growth came the hair matting up, because again of how long she kept it in, and because she was continuously making sure that her scalp and hair was clean. So we just had to do a little extra. So when she came, I was like, look, I didn't even realize it was gonna be like that. Like that. I was thinking I was just gonna have to help remove the rest of her braids, and then I was gonna do my little finger detangle like I do. And then when I seen that, I was like, okay, so yeah. Like, let's just go with the time, and we'll decide exactly what we're gonna do depending on how long this takes. So it took us a while. It took us hours, or me hours, to be able to detangle this. So I removed the rest of her braids. They were in there. The middle part was not as bad, but the sides and the top look like this. So I did have to detangle quite a bit of her hair. And so what I did was I just put some oil in, and as you see me rub it in really, really good, as good as I could, to kind of help it to penetrate. The oil is a really light oil, so it doesn't really take long to do so. But this area is very, very matted, and it's a long matted area, so you just want to give it time to penetrate. And then if you see me, I'm gently pulling it apart, starting from the bottom to the top. Okay, I start from the bottom to the top, and once I get it to a place where I can just pull it apart, as you see me doing, I'm doing that. Okay, so I'm pulling it apart just to kind of break down these pieces so I can have a little bit more control. And then you see me start to loosen it up again as much as I can, and now I'm pulling very small strands through from the top. Okay, very, very small strands. And what's happening is the matted part is becoming not so compact because I'm removing some of the strands from that matted area. Okay, so I'm just pulling that through, pull it through as much as or as little at a time as I can. If you can see, it's like maybe 2 to 3 strands depending on what comes through. Like, I'm not forcing anything, I'm just letting it guide me so that we can retain as much of her hair as we absolutely positively can. Okay, so I'm just pulling that through. I'm pull that through, separating, seeing, okay, can I just separate it now? Can I just pull out this matted area? Because you have to remember that when you have braids in, your shed hair has nowhere to go. So in her instance, she has about 14 weeks of shed hair that has nowhere to go. So that is what is about to come out as you see me pulling that out of her hair. And then I'm going to show you the piece, how much came out of this one braid once we're done. But I'm just going to go to the next side and, do the same thing. Try to pull that apart. So that one was much, much easier to just kind of pull apart. But I like to finger detangle because you have way more control over how much hair actually comes out. Imagine yourself going through with a comb, whether it's fine. If it's wide tooth, it's not going to get it. And if it's fine tooth, oh my goodness, you're just going to be a pulling fool, pulling out unnecessary hair. So in this instance, or in all instances, you have to make sure that you are very cautious when removing your braids, especially depending on your hair type. But in this instance, we had to be extremely gentle, extremely cautious, really, really take our time. And I was really proud of her for taking her time throughout the rest of, her braid install. Even with an injured arm, like, she did her very best. She got people to help her out, a little bit at a time as they could. And I know she was grateful, and I'm grateful that, her hair still looks really, really good after this. And I will, of course, show you her hair after this. So yeah, so now I'm just finger detangling, make sure I'm getting every little thing, every little shed piece out that I can. And this oil also acts as a pre-poo. All right, so that's how much shed hair. That's 14 weeks. That's not bad. That's 14 weeks. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue to do the same thing, putting the oil onto the area. And I had to put a generous amount just because of, again, the section of the matted area. And then I'm just going to gently take my time trying to unbraid it. Most of it is not really a braid because this is all new growth. So the very bottom of it is a braid, just because of course you start with the 3 strands when you're putting in the knotless box braids. And I'm just going to do the same steps. So I'm going to let you watch it. I'm going to come back later.
Soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music. Soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music. soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music.
The middle was absolutely not as bad. Those edges, you had to be extremely delicate. So I was extremely delicate. But when it came to the middle of her hair, this is like her middle part. We probably did about 2 rows on each side, and then 2 rows in the front perimeter. That, well, actually, maybe a little bit more than that. It's been a while. Forgive me. But I know for sure 2 rows on the top and then 2 rows on the perimeter, and maybe like a third or fourth braid on some of the rows. But this was much easier to take out. If you see me, I'm going much faster and it's not sped up. I'm really just kind of like untangling it from the bottom as much as I can, getting my fingernails, excuse me, through there. And a tip I always tell people, whenever you go to take down your hair or anytime you go to manipulate your hair, make sure that your nails are nice and shaped. They don't have any like splits or cracks or whatever, because they can snag your hair and break your hair off very easily, very quickly. And we don't want that. We always want our hair to be nice and healthy, throughout, from the top to the bottom. So yeah, so this one was really easy for me to, much easier for me to remove. Probably again, like the middle braids or the braids in top of her head were easy. It does still take a couple of minutes to do, but not as many minutes as it takes the other. And her hair was tender. Like, yeah, she did plan on taking it out so she can give her hair a break, but it just, man, life happens, right? Life happens. So which is the exact reason also why I have the braid protective style removal oil, because life happens. Sometimes people, forget or don't have the time, and sometimes people just don't make the time. They like, well, I got these braids in, I'm be lazy, which is not what you should do. But in that case, I do have that braid removal oil for to help you take out your hair, where all you're taking out is shed hair and not breaking your hair off in the process. So we are all done, and now I'm just trying to go through all of her hair. And she was tender, so I had to adjust, me combing through it. She has a lot of hair. I mean, she really did a great job at, what she detangled. She came in with braids, so as she detangled areas, she would just braid it up to keep it out of the way. Which is what I had to also remove, which is what I had to remove today, or that day. But yeah, so I'm just going through and I'm moving slowly. I'm showing you in real time because you really do want to be gentle and take your time coming out of a style that you normally don't have in for so long. That was pretty matted like that, so yeah, she's never had to deal with that. And this is probably the first client I've had, as a removal where it was matted that bad. So again, I'm just going through this area with my Y2 comb, since I've done my finger detangle, and just trying to get out some more shed hair. All of the hair doesn't always come out the first, second, or even your wash day, that you're doing it. It maybe come out at the end of the detangle. A little bit of hair comes out each time. So I'm just trying to get out as much as I can so that I don't have to fight it, throughout these next steps. The less shed hair that you have to fight with, the better, because kinky hair, curly hair reverts. And when it does, it's easy for the other hair to get tangled into it. So I always trying to make sure to make the process as delicate as I possibly can. You see me like holding down at the top or at the base, so it's not, doesn't feel like it's pulling so much. So yeah, so I'm just going to continue detangling her hair, then we're going to go in for her wash day.
My soul music, my soul music, my soul music. Pure soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music.
after hours, and it may have been like 2.5 hours, maybe. Again, forgive me for not remembering, but this is how much shed hair she had in all after 14 weeks. Right, so now that we have done that with the time we have now left over, we just decided to do some large slash jumbo knotless box braids, so that she could have her not have to worry about her hair, because now she's worried about being able to trying to get her elbow, her dislocated elbow back to health. So that she doesn't have to really worry about the actual, okay, I gotta style my hair, I gotta wash it, I gotta blow dry it or whatever. It really is much easier to wash your hair in braids, because your hair is already parted, your scalp is already free, your hair is already detangled. So yeah, so we just decided, well, we have a little time. We just have to do what we can do. And she was like, listen, I'm just grateful those braids are out. I'm just grateful I didn't have to detangle or wash my hair, and let's just do whatever we can. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm going to continue and let you guys enjoy.
Pure soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music. soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music. Soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music. soul music, my soul music, my soul music, my soul music. Soul music, my soul music, my